I'm strolling around Manhattan minding my own business, and then I see a sign that just says free show. I like free shows. Now, if you're raised correctly, you're not gonna go enter a windowless monolith that just promises you a nondescript free show. So I go in and I find a lady at a desk, and I go up to the lady at the desk and I'm like, hey, what's up with this free show? And she's like, oh yeah, we got a bunch of people coming in performing later tonight. And I'm like, wow, that's great. So it's like an open mic. And she gets immediately terrified. She's like, no, this is not an open mic. You cannot perform here. Do not attempt to try and perform here. I'm like, I wasn't going to, but it seems like you have a lot of faith in me. She's like, I'm sorry, you just cannot perform here. And I'm like, this has gotta be some kind of microaggression. I don't even know what you would call this. So I'm like, so what time does this start? And she's like, oh, it starts at like 8. I'm like, that's great. That's great news. I'm free at 8 o'clock. And she looks a little bit uncomfortable, but hey, what are you gonna do? Anyway, so I bring like 3 of my friends to this free show. And when we walk in, the first act we see is described as a traditional fusion of African American and Native American dancing. I'm not gonna try and recreate what happened there because I'm 95% sure that if I do that, it's gonna be like super racist. So you're just gonna have to use your imagination for that one. Act after that, though, okay, was simultaneously my favorite and my least favorite act. This guy comes up with a piano. He like drags a piano, like a grand piano. Like this thing is super heavy, and they're like dragging this thing out to the center of the stage. And he sits down and he clears his throat, and he's like, and he introduces himself. Okay, this is his words. This is not my words. I feel like I should mention his words. He says, "Hello, guys. I am 73 years old, and I'm a gay little Filipino boy." Okay, that's, hey, what a start. And he goes on, this guy monologues for 90 minutes straight about his life in San Francisco as a gay little Filipino boy, and his boyfriend that was like addicted to like crack and meth, and how his life spiraled out of control. Then he's like, okay guys, in the middle of this, he's like, okay guys, I have 3 poems, and you need to choose one of these poems that I get to read to you. Then afterwards, we're gonna do a song. So we all vote on a poem, and he reads us the poem. Now, I don't even remember the poem, because this dude, prior to this, has been talking for 60 minutes straight about his crack-addicted boyfriend in San Francisco. So he finally gets through his 2-minute poem, by the way. He is like, okay, so before the song, I just want to pay another tribute to my other boyfriend in San Francisco, who was not addicted to crack or meth, but he was still very depressed. I'm like, this guy has the saddest life. What is he doing here? And then he plays a song after 30 minutes of monologuing again. And it's like, if he had just done his act, the entire thing would have taken maybe like 10 minutes at most. We enter the small theater. Now you gotta understand, this is not a theater, it's a room, and there's only 5 people in it, including us. So really, there was one other person there. We get a private showing of this play that doesn't have a title, but they say it's about a colonizer going to an unnamed place in Africa to buy slaves in exchange for guns. Now, this play was crazy. It was like half an hour long. Okay, it starts off as this guy, just a random middle-aged dude. Let me talk about the costume design, actually, for a second. This guy was just a middle-aged dude in some random Indiana Jones-esque costume. The entire play was only of 4 actors. It was that dude, then the African warlord, who was just dressed in a sweatshirt and some jeans, and the African warlord's queen. And for her, they just slapped on some random dress they found in a clearance bin at TJ Maxx. I'll get to the 4th actor in a second, but basically this guy goes up and he's like, hey, you want to buy my guns? And the African warlord's like, no, I don't want to buy your guns. He's like, I also have mirrors. And the guy's like, what's a mirror? And then he just brings out a mirror. He's like, oh, what's this? And then, like, the queen gets super infatuated with this mirror, and she starts checking herself out. She's like, ooh, who is this beautiful princess? Husband, we have to do deals with this guy. We have to make a deal. And the husband was like, okay, show me your guns. Bust them out. And the colonizer guy pulls out a fake flintlock pistol from his pocket. And he's like, watch this. And then he pulls the trigger. And nothing happens. He's like, watch this. He pulls the trigger. Nothing happens. He's like, and he keeps clicking the trigger like 3 more times, like click, click, click. And suddenly on the speakers in the room, just a loud gunshot noise just plays, and it startles all the actors. The guy who was supposed to be shooting the gun is jumped so bad he dropped the gun on the floor. And then he looked at the audience so ashamed, like, we made him drop the gun. Like, bro, this is your show. You dropped the gun. This is not my fault. Stop looking at me like that. And the guy's like, oh, well, see my power? And the warlord is like, oh my god, what immense power this guy holds. Here, take my slaves. And then enter Ibu. Okay, my favorite character. Now, Ibu is supposed to be the slave that the warlord is selling, but it's just a guy in a tank top, jorts, and no shoes on. Also, one bongo, just strapped to his jorts with some kind of suspension unit. To this day, 2 years later, I still don't know what was holding up that bongo. I have no idea. We can only hear Ibu's inner monologue. But the wind can also hear Ibu's thoughts, which leads to the 10-minute monologue where Ibu converses with the wind. Like, I don't know what was said in the monologue, but I know he was talking to the wind. Anyway, remember how I said Ibu was barefoot? Well, this entire time, he's like prancing around, talking to the wind and playing his bongo with so much gusto, and he's getting real heated and excited right now, so his body starts to heat up, and he's leaving these little sweaty footprints all over the floor, and I'm just watching this happen, and I'm analyzing these footprints, and the only thing I can think to myself is, wow, Ibu has huge feet. And at this moment, my friend Charlie, who sounds like a transatlantic radio announcer, says, "This is the worst show ever. We have to leave this theater immediately." We didn't leave, but I'm tired of talking, so smash like and subscribe for part 2.